Making art every day for 31 days? Can I really do that? Well, I'm challenging this idea by participating in PEACHTOBER this year and making an art piece every single day for the month of October. Howdy hey, I'm Kit Kat and welcome to day 15 of PEACHTOBER. Today we're on my couch. I'm bundled up with my blanket. I'm so cozy. I'm gonna be working here today on my art. Just feels like the right spot to be. And I'm really excited about the piece I'm making today. I've been thinking about this piece since the beginning of PEACHTOBER. I've been super excited to make it. If you've watched any of the other videos so far, there's a piece I've been talking about in those videos. This is the piece. This is the piece that I literally have been waiting all of PEACHTOBER for. And I can't wait to make it, and I can't wait to show it to you today because I just think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to turn out really good. And you know when you feel really excited to make a piece and then like the piece just also kind of turns out really good because you really want to put the effort in? Like that's how I feel about this piece. That's why we're cozied up on the couch so that I can really just grind on this piece out here. Also, we haven't even said today's prompt, lol. So, today's prompt is aquarium. Everything I'm making for PEACHTOBER is grocery themed, to the best of my ability. So, like, how do you do aquarium but make it grocery themed? We'll get to that in a minute when I show you the design process. But before that, it's time for Card Attack time! The time where I pick an extra challenge for the day. So let's pick today's challenge. Today's challenge is Color Favies, where I get to use my favorite colors in today's piece. If you watched the episode where I had to use my least favorite colors, I feel like I still was able to make the piece work really well because in general, I like pretty much every color. So this challenge almost feels like a no-brainer. It's like I just use whatever colors I want because I like pretty much every color and just don't use the colors I don't like, which isn't very many because I like a lot of colors. Before we design, here's today's color palette, and here's my silly little sketch. It's the one on the bottom, and this is kind of funny, but I know it's not super sketched out, but the vision is there. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to sketch out this design because I know what I want to do with it. So, without further ado, let's get cooking. Well, how do you do? It's another voiceover with Kit Kat, and I'm really excited to talk about the piece and just about my idea behind it and how much fun I had making it. So this piece, obviously the prompt was aquarium, and I got to that prompt when I was coming up with my ideas, and I was like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And then I started brainstorming and I was like, dude, what if the fish were like aisles in a grocery store? She has like a grocery shopping basket and she's like shopping for fish, but like at the aquarium. But like, don't think about it too hard, because if you think about it too hard, then it's like, oh, so she's buying these fish and she's gonna go home and eat them. But like, maybe she's not. Maybe she is at the food store. No, that's not what I meant. The fish store. She's at the fish store or Petco. I don't know. Pretend she's there. Pretend she's not buying fish to eat. Anyways, that was the concept. I knew that this was a piece that I could get really detailed with, and that excited me. And so there were certain pieces that I spent probably less time on, partly because I knew that this piece was coming and I really wanted to spend as much time as possible on it. I loved the challenge that wasn't really a challenge that I got today. It worked so well with this piece, and it really allowed me to just use some of my favorite colors, which if this is your first video you're watching, some of my favorite colors are the primary colors. I decided to go a little bit away from that. I did the blue and the yellow, but then instead of red, I did pink, because that's another color combo I really like together, is blue, yellow, and pink. And then I also did orange and some purples in the piece, and I just used lots of color and lots of detail when I went about it, which made for such a fun art process. I have so much content that I filmed from this because I spent like 4 hours on this piece, and every hour was absolutely worth it. I had genuinely the time of my life working on this. I feel like it's been a long time since I really got into the deep art making zone, and I was able to just really focus all my attention into a piece, and it was so nice. I was so happy, and I'm so happy with how it turned out too. I think it is like the best piece I've done so far in PEACHTOBER, in my opinion. I showed my husband the final piece, and he said that it looks a lot like the piece I did a little bit ago for day 6 for Ring. But the thing is, I agree that it does look a lot like that piece, although that was a completely different color palette and completely different prompt and completely different idea. I also had this idea for aquarium from the get-go, so this idea came way before that idea did, because if you go watch that video, that idea came because the challenge required me to apply that to the idea. So I wasn't necessarily copying that piece. If anything, that piece was copying this piece, but that piece is different. It takes place in a candy aisle. This takes place in a fish aquarium aisle. And yeah, that piece also, I feel like, was more of a self-portrait, because it was me with one of my hats on. And this piece is not a self-portrait. Maybe it's like the ideal version of what I would want to look like, because I always dreamed of having red hair growing up. So maybe in a way, like, it kind of is me as if I were how I wish I would have looked growing up. But honestly, I mostly just gave the character red hair because I thought it would pair well with all the other colors in the piece and it would look good overall. And another thing that was cool about the piece is because there were so many different fish, I got to design a lot of the fish, each one, just figure it out as I go. I took some of the rows and like copied them so that I wouldn't have to do every single row individually with the fish, just because, I mean, you only have so much time for PEACHTOBER, and I didn't necessarily have a whole day's worth to work on the piece. So that's kind of one way I cut around some of the corners with it. But overall, it's a really cool piece. It's the one I've been most excited to work on ever since I started PEACHTOBER, and I honestly loved this prompt. Like, it's funny because this is probably one of the most like ungrocery-like prompts of the whole series, and yet this is the one that I was most looking forward to, that I felt like there was something there that I could really invest in. And so then we went full on into it and just worked really hard on it, and the outcome was so worth every minute spent on it. And I hope that you enjoyed this art making process. I would love to hear your thoughts on this piece below. And with that, I think it's finally time to show you the final piece. And you made it to the end of the video with my little fish friend here, and it's time to show you the final piece. Truly had so much fun with today's design, and I was so excited to show it to you. I hope you enjoyed today's art process video for PEACHTOBER. If you're new here, I'm making a video every single day of PEACHTOBER to share my art process, the behind the scenes, and also the why behind each design. So if you're interested, stick around a while. Check out some of the other episodes that I've done so far. Let me know what you think of the PEACHTOBER designs, and thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of PEACHTOBER with a brand new prompt. And with that, I will catch you on the flippity flap. Bye!